Short reloading video. This is something that comes up maybe when you're kind of a newer reloader, especially for rifle cartridges. You can see something bad's about to happen to this case, but it's for a good cause. So, when you're reloading, especially new to reloading, and you've run a case a few times, especially if you spend any time on the internet reloading pages are a lot of times like WebMD is for a headache. Be aware that there's some crazy stuff that gets said out there, okay? But suffice to say, people may they'll resize these things, and they'll have a small base set. And if you look at this case, if I had a brand new case and I had run it one time, fired it, and then resized it the first time, what happens is that this brass gets worked down into this area here. It gets worked from the shoulder, especially the small base or the Hornady brand. They get worked all the way down here. So what you'll see is work has happened to the to the case. Okay, so really what's happened was the case expands in all directions all the way down to the end of the chamber, basically, right? And you got to squeeze it back. Well, small base die sets really go down here, and they really squeeze everything together back in. I have the full-length sets that are not as severe. They're like 2 thou instead of 4 thou, right? So small base. So what you'll see is a little line in here where the die stopped working on the part. Man, there's so much light. I never thought I'd complain about it. But right in this area at the bottom here, that's where you see it. So look at your case, run it in, and then see what I'm talking about in front of you. Well, here's the problem. Sometimes after you maybe do it once or twice or maybe even 3 times, that line starts getting pretty well defined because that's where you're working the brass every time. So people will take a photo of it and they'll put it online and they'll say, hey, what's going on here? Is this okay? And then the WebMD people will come out and go, oh my goodness, you're going to have case head separation. And anytime you hear head separation, you think this is bad. It is bad. Okay, case head separation is not good. And what it is the idea that as you fire these, and you've seen in my other videos, you know that this case will grow over time because of full-length resizing operations, pushing the shoulder backwards, and then basically the material likes to work its way forward. Due to you compressing, it squeezes forward. So you trim. Well, where does that brass come from? It doesn't actually come from this shoulder. It actually comes from down here, ultimately. And this is an area where the case can start to thin out inside. Okay, the outside is always looking pretty smooth because, frankly, that's what's running into the chamber walls. So it's always made smooth by detonation, okay? Well, the inside starts to thin, so you end up getting, I don't even know how to explain this. Let me grab this piece of paper here. I'd be amazed if this pen works. It's been out here for like 6 years. Wow, that's cool. So, world's worst case drawing ever. Oh, come on. So as your case grows, your inside wall, let's try to make an inside wall. What the concern is the inside wall can do this. All right, and then there's the primer pocket there, and then this, and this, and this. And then on it goes up. All right, so that'd be the inner diameter, or the inner material there. And the worry is that as the case stretches, this is a bit exaggerated, but this area here stretches and then it thins out. And what the worry is that the case is going to break right there. Now, the bottom has the rim on it, right? Yeah, something like that. Wow, that's horrible, guys. That's really bad. This part down here is the part that will come out and be ejected. by your AR-15, by your bolt action, and guess what? All of this is going to be jammed inside of your chamber, and you're going to have a lot of fun getting it out. The bullet probably went downrange, but the case is probably toast. Okay, that's what the worry is. That's a pretty nasty thing to have to happen to you. So people take it pretty seriously. You will most likely ponder this, especially after watching this video saying, hey, this is a thing. You're going to go, oh my goodness. All right, there's only one way for me to show you how to help yourself get yourself at ease. All right, and I think you might know maybe where this might be going. Some people might have a more immaculate way to do this. You know, a bandsaw would be great. Be careful, guys. Don't play with your saws without, like, using your brains. I don't have any power tools, really. Except for a skill saw. But this is how I would do it, right here. And I want to show you this case. I can tell you this case, I've probably run it 6 times. 223 just doesn't grow that much, guys. But all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to keep my hand away from this mess. Just a hacksaw, guys. And I'm gonna go slow, and it gets difficult when you get into these. When you get into them, because you're cutting a tube. It's gonna end up being the longest, most embarrassing video in this channel's history. Listen to that. It's the song of my people. It always goes down into this mess for me. Just dragging it. I'm not going to use this case again, guys. Just heads up. There's no, like, brazing this back together. Need to tighten my grip on it. And obviously destroy it if you need to, because you're destroying it anyway. OSHA! All right, that might be good enough. Here's what we'll do, guys. Obviously, for your benefit, you're probably just gonna go ahead and finish the job with your saw or whatever you're doing. I mounted it up in here. I'm just gonna every step, man, it's a challenge. I'm just gonna break it open, okay? You're gonna just finish the job with your bandsaw or whatever. But now you have access. Am I in frame at all? Now you have access to the inside of your case, all right? And you can take a pick or a nail or your eyeball. Maybe don't take your eyeball out. But you can feel in here, when you have a case you suspect, oh, is that the dreaded ring you get? Because they're going to tell you get a ring. You're going to get a ring, is what they say. It'll be like a distinct ring around the case, usually down in this area here. And sometimes they say, well, it'll be kind of a dip in. The outer wall will kind of start collapsing a little bit. And other times they'll say it just manifests as a ring. Okay. This case was fine. I guess I should put it back together, but this won't buff out, by the way. Okay, this is junk now, but this is how honest to goodness, I suggest you put your mind at ease. Hack it open and look at it, because what you're going to find is your case is fine. I'm not going to say the only time you ever get this problem is if you have like a headspace issue or excessive headspace, or maybe your bolt lugs kind of are setting back. I've been doing this for quite some time, and I can't tell you if this had happened in the wild to anyone who's ever been on a Facebook reloading group, I have a feeling I would have seen it. All right, that one's scrap.